kind of have to adjust to that?
It's not something I had experienced before, and so we tried to utilize the time wisely, continuing to make adjustments as the players came off. They met with their position coaches. From that standpoint, I think we utilized the time well. I thought we utilized our halftime well. From what I understand, like I said, these are somewhat common around here, so we're probably going to have to do a lightning delay 101 class.
Did you feel like you guys were able to wear Montana down? I mean, in that third quarter, you were able to, again, reestablish that line of scrimmage. You got some big runs. Did you feel like you kind of wore them down in the second half?
That was our plan. And we talked about being Cowboy tough, and beyond those words, between the line of scrimmage and running backs, gaining extra yards and moving the chains that way, that's part of who we are. Now, to develop that takes a while, but that was a plan, and the plan worked.
What did you think of Sean and DJ's performance? Sean goes over 100, DJ, I think, finished about 4 yards short or something like that.
Yeah, excellent, and they'll be the first to give the credit to our offensive line, and also beyond that, the receivers blocking, Colby putting us in and out of plays had a big portion of that, but nonetheless, they had good reads and they ran extremely hard, and those things, we've got two good running backs, and we'll leverage that in the future.
How would you characterize the play of the defense? Obviously, the turnovers weren't there, but it seemed like they made the plays when they needed to.
Yeah, we're well pleased. Now, there's some things, obviously, that tape's never as bad as you thought or as good as you thought the next day, but this was a prolific offense. Quarterback is a 4-year starter, a 5th-year senior, and we knew we were going to have our hands full, and to hold that point total down the way we did, we're pleased with that. And that's part of changing the culture here. We've got to do a better job as far as winning games and leveraging our defense. So we're pleased with that.
Coach Josh, it seemed like he was all over the field defensively. What do you think of his performance?
He's got great speed and great range, and he's learning to play faster. And we're pleased with that. He made a lot of tackles both in the passing game and in the running game. So he certainly did well. I also would like to point out, though, those defensive linemen did a great job keeping people off.
Coach, you talked about managing the clock with the quarterback and also just being a disciplined team. As far as I think 1 or 2 penalties in this game and 0 delay games, how do you like your team's discipline?
Good start. We can be better. We want to have no timeouts in that position. But I thought, Kobe, that was a tough position he was put in. I mean, he's out there, hadn't played a lot of football here, and now all of a sudden you've got all these variables of managing the clock, and so he did a nice job, and our other guys did. There's some things we need to clean up, though. We're nowhere, but we're for first game. It's good. It's a good effort.
Craig, what does a win like this do for the program? Just kind of getting its feet on the ground a little bit.
Well, the number one audience that we talked about, making sure that we addressed, was our football team. These guys have gone through an awful lot, and for them, they maybe heard a lot of ups and downs, and well, this is going to work, and that's going to work, and we'll make great halftime adjustments, and we're going to win as a team, and buy in, and all that stuff. That all sounds good, but if you don't come up with a win, it's a lot of hot air, and so I'm excited about that. Our staff is excited about that because these players have been. They want to believe they can be good. They don't know how to be good yet, and this is a big step forward. I'm in hopes it sends a message to our fans too. Now that's a different style of football that's being played out here, and I want to say thanks to all those fans that came back after the rain plays too. And so, the next group is our fans. That this is going to be a new brand of football. It will represent our state. It's going to represent our school well. And then we're in hopes that we outreach to our state and our region that this is a football team that we can rally behind.
Coach, playing off of that, the environment today, the excitement, the big crowd, your thoughts on that?
Well, it's college football, and I've heard great things about our fan base. What was great for me to do is just drive around throughout the state and see Steamboat stickers everywhere and the brown and gold. But also, as I was driving around the state, recognize how far it is to come to a football game. It's not a decision to come to War Memorial. It's a commitment. It needs to be an event. And so today, that's great to see not only the fans in Wyoming, but I'm sure we had some from Colorado and Nebraska. Great start.
When you needed a play to drain the clock, Brian Hill got you that play out of nowhere. I mean, how much faith did you guys have in him to put him in that position?
Well, that's why he's in there. and that's not a smart aleck response, but think about where he's at. Here's a true freshman late in the ball game at a really critical stage and being able to make a play, and he's got a bright future. And it was good to see him go in there and play well in practice. But you never know how they're going to respond, and he answers well today.
On their first scoring drive, they went 3 for 3 on third downs. I think outside of that, they went like maybe 3 for 15.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the way, the kids talked about flipping that card at the third down. Seems like they bought into it.
Well, between Coach Standard and the defensive coaches, I thought there were great adjustments that were made. They have a complicated offense, and for our guys to be able to be in position at the right place was good. I mean, it wasn't like we were picture perfect. We did miss some tackles, but it wasn't like the long breaking games. I mean, we missed a couple smoke routes, stops on the outside. I thought we had good pursuit, and those are signs of improvements. And if you can, make an offense go the long hard way, all of a sudden you're going to put yourself in a better position, and certainly the 3 now has helped us.
Coach, the fact that last year you're probably going to play Montana, so that might kind of give you a head start in prepping for this game tonight.
It did. There was some things that we had seen last year. We poured through tons of tape. We were always prepared for 2 opponents. So, like I said, we have a great deal of respect for their program. So that gave us an awareness. We knew what kind of player the quarterback was. Certainly defensively, what kind of players they had. Was that the overriding, arching, deciding factor? I don't think so, but it certainly helped.
Coach, how would you assess Colby in this game? Obviously, he had those early mistakes, but he didn't fold after those mistakes.
No, that says a lot about him. So we're well pleased with his progress. And the encouraging thing is there's room for improvement too. And I think Coach Vegan has done a great job with him. And Colby's on his work too. I mean, he's made great progress from the spring, and he worked hard during the course of the summer. And then coming out on game day, you know what? It's a great start for him. Now we can't stay where we're at. We've got to move forward in all facets of our game, including his performance. But really well pleased and happy for him.
You spoke to Montana having to go length of the field. I think it was your second to last offensive possession where you called the draw on 3rd and 8.
Mm-hmm.
Did that speak to the confidence you had in your defense to stop them, from going 80 yards?
Well, that's part of who we are. Playing field position football and looking at how the game's flowing, and the guys that we had out there on defense were pretty healthy, pretty fresh at the time. Utilizing the clock, running the clock down. The ultimate deal is to win the game. It doesn't count on style points. So that's a precursor of times to come. I think you saw it.
Did you feel like you had to go vertical at halftime? You were trying to stretch them in the first half on the edges, but you got a couple of outs. You drew the pass interference call. Yeah, that kind of opened things up.
I don't know as far as vertical. We thought the play action pass was going to be important for us, and that became, and that also changed. It changed our protection up front. Bought a little bit more time for Colby. Got him out on the edge. A little bit easier throws. Got him in a rhythm, and Coach Vegan does a great job. The number of times I talk to the quarterback, I could probably count on one hand. There's one guy that talks to the quarterback, and that's Brent Vegan. He did a good job with him.
How tough is Zach Wagaman on the edge there?
Talented player, and we're well aware of great players at the FCS level, and so his performance, and when we saw him out there, he's on everybody's NFL draft board. He plays with great intensity, and he's hard to handle. And certainly it's going to be a force to be reckoned with the rest of the year. I'm glad we're done with it.
How'd you make it out injury-wise, or are you going to report tomorrow? Has anyone said anything to you, at least after the game initially?
I'm trying to think of anybody. Jalen didn't finish, and where we go from here, we'll find out. I don't think it's a season-ending deal, but how he responds back. But he's the only one that couldn't finish the game.
Greg, I know you never want to make it about you're about team, but after being at North Dakota State for so long and then getting hired last December and right up until today, you walked out of that locker room or you walked into the stadium today, and I'm compelled to ask what individually you might have been feeling knowing that the moment had arrived and the bullets were going to start flying.
What was probably the most rewarding moment for me was I can remember walking in this room way in December and looking at a bunch of wide-eyed young men that were introduced to their new head football coach and didn't know what the heck was gonna happen, what it all meant, and our staff chose them, they didn't choose us. And probably, one of the neatest things you get to do as a head football coach is address a football team right before you go out. And so we had all these guys, not in this room, but another room, they were all seated right there. And for me to be able to look them in the eye and say, guys, look where we're at. And look what we have an opportunity to do today. And for those guys to embrace that challenge, it was the best seat in the house is handled by me. I got to stand on the sidelines and watch these guys go out and perform at a high level. So, very, really great.
I don't know if you're aware, but your old Bison dropped the hammer on Iowa State today, 34-14. Mm-hmm. Did you have 1 year?
Well, no, I can tell you, and I love NDSU, but I'm the head football coach at Wyoming. Go Bison.
Thanks, guys.
Any other questions? Thank you.